A billionaire discovered a single mom who speaks 7 languages. His life-changing decision revealed. Jack Thompson stood in line at the local cafe, his perfectly tailored suit a stark contrast to the worn jeans of the patrons around him. He was a tech billionaire, a man who could buy anything from luxury cars to entire islands, yet the truth was that something felt missing. He took a deep breath, the rich aroma of coffee battling with the emptiness in his chest. His mind raced with thoughts of the latest corporate takeover, the thrill of victory always dimmed by a nagging dissatisfaction he couldn't quite shake. Then he saw her. Mia, a vibrant single mother, her laughter ringing louder than the espresso machine. She juggled her 2 kids, both energetic and chaotic, as they stirred up trouble by the cafe's entrance. The kids pulled at her, demanding cookies while she balanced a paycheck slip in her grip like a lifeline. Yet, despite the whirlwind around her, Mia radiated hope. Jack felt an unexpected tug at his conscience, something unfamiliar to a man with wealth so vast that he could exist in a bubble of luxury and isolation. That he listened in as she spoke to the barista, her voice fluid, switching effortlessly between languages. It was like poetry in motion, the way she maneuvered through words, her passion bubbling up like a fresh brew. He stepped closer, driven by a mix of curiosity and something yearning. Just as Jack ordered his coffee, he overheard the mention of a rent increase. His heart sank. A familiar feeling knotted in his gut. It was an emotion he hadn't felt in years. He turned to the group of mothers behind him, who murmured about Mia's struggles with the upcoming rent. Jack couldn't believe it. A woman with so much potential about to lose everything because of money. Should he interject? Offer help? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The more Jack learned about Mia, the more he was drawn into her world. An invitation to her home revealed walls adorned with dreams she couldn't afford to chase. She shared stories of her childhood struggles, her voice cracking with emotion. He felt tears prick at his eyes, a sensation so foreign to him. Would he risk tarnishing his hard-earned facade to venture into her chaotic life? But his peers were quick to criticize, questioning his motives. The word stung. Is it just a publicity stunt? They sneered. And Mia? She found herself torn between allowing a glimpse of her world into the polished life of a billionaire or shutting him out, fearing for her children's hearts. She only wanted to protect them from pain. Then came the town hall meeting. The atmosphere buzzed with tension, societal divides laid bare. And as Mia spoke passionately about her language school, Jack's heart raced. Their eyes locked, and in that moment he recognized her hope mirrored his own buried dreams. Could they bridge this chasm of privilege versus adversity? Jack was ready to extend his hand, to back her dream, yet questions loomed. Would the community accept their alliance? Or would judgment and envy drive them apart? The stakes were high, and as they stood on the precipice of a transformative partnership, both faced the uncertain tide of change. Would love and ambition flourish against the backdrop of class distinctions? Or were they doomed to fail under the weight of expectations? Jack left the town hall feeling electrified yet troubled. The speech Mia had given struck a chord deep within him, awakening feelings he thought he had buried. Her passion radiated, igniting something in him that money couldn't buy. He had listened to her speak about her dreams, an academy where children could learn languages and cultures from around the world. What a gift that would be, he thought. But reality crashed in. How could he help her without exposing them both to scorn? The next morning, Jack found himself back at the cafe, a habit he was quickly developing. As he walked through the door, he spotted Mia, her children by her side, animatedly chatting with the barista. Despite the morning chaos, a warmth enveloped her, illuminating even the darkest corners of his mind. He took a seat at a corner table and watched her, entranced by the way she carried herself with a grace he had rarely seen. Mia turned and caught his gaze, her surprise quickly morphing into a smile. It lit up her face, making the rest of the world seem dull by comparison. Jack felt a strange tension in his chest, a pull towards her that he couldn't ignore. With each passing moment, he realized he needed to have a conversation beyond the small talk. "Hey, Mia," he called out, gathering his courage. She approached, her children curiously examining the man in the suit. "Hey, Jack. Back for more coffee?" She joked, but he detected a hint of nervousness in her tone. "Actually, I was hoping we could talk about your school idea," he said, the sincerity in his voice drawing her attention deeper. Mia's eyes widened momentarily before she glanced at her kids. "I'm not sure how much time I have, just a few minutes," Jack promised, motioning for them to join him. He was making the decision now. He could either sit on the sidelines or dive in headfirst. He could feel the energy of her dream resonating with his own lost ambitions, and he was at a crossroads. Once they were settled, Jack asked, "What made you want to start this school?" "There are so many challenges ahead. I want to give kids a chance," she replied earnestly. "My children deserve to appreciate their heritage. I want them to grow up believing they can be so much more than just a label. If I can inspire even one, it would make it worth it." Jack couldn't help but feel a rush of admiration for her commitment. "What if I offered you some funding? Not just to start the school, but to create something impactful that could change lives?" Mia held her breath, her eyes searching his for a sign of sincerity. "You mean like a charity? For me?" There was disbelief mixed with hope in her voice. "Yes," he nodded. "I want to help you realize this dream." As she processed his offer, Jack felt his heart pounding. She looked torn, vulnerability mixed with uncertainty. "But Jack, what will people say? What do you gain from this?" "It's not about what I gain. I want to be part of something bigger than myself. I see the potential in you. In what you can do for these kids," he insisted. Mia's gaze softened, a flicker of hope emerging. But what would this offer mean for both of them? The judgment from society loomed large. Just then, the cafe door swung open and a couple of acquaintances from his business circle entered, their gazes sweeping over him with curiosity, and he knew in that moment that their alliance might come at a hefty price. Would they understand? Would they see him as he truly wanted to be seen? Jack caught Mia's worried expression. "We'll face this together," he said, offering his hand, a gesture of promise and courage. As they shook hands, a bond was formed, but uncertainty lingered in the air like a storm cloud waiting to break. They were diving into uncharted waters, yet what awaited them could change everything. "Do you think we can truly make this work?" Mia's eyes sparkled with doubt, yet a part of her radiated excitement. Jack smiled, his heart racing with hope. "We have to try." And as they exchanged hopeful glances, the question loomed larger than life. What would happen when their worlds collided, not only in dreams but in reality? The cafe buzzed with the morning rush, but for Jack and Mia, it felt like they were cloaked in a bubble of their own. The world around them faded, the noise dimmed as they confronted a shared dream, a dream on the precipice of becoming reality. Mia's children, absorbed in their cartoons, were blissfully unaware of the tension that colored the air between their mother and the man before her. "What's the first step?" Mia asked, her voice shaky yet brimming with hope. Jack took a deep breath, realizing that he needed to be clear. "First, we start with a plan, something real that we can show to potential supporters." He felt a sense of determination rise within him. "I can help connect you with people who might be interested in your vision, but you have to be ready to pitch your dream." She nodded, a mix of excitement and trepidation flashing across her face. "I've only shared this with my close friends. I'm not sure how to present it to a group. What if they don't take me seriously?" "They will," Jack reassured her. "Because it's not just about figures and proposals, it's about you and your passion. That's what will resonate with them. Your story is powerful." The uncertainty in Mia's eyes softened slightly, though there was still a flicker of doubt. Jack reached across the table, letting his fingertips brush against hers. "Believe me, Mia. It's your story that makes this worth it. It's why I want to help." As their eyes locked, Jack felt a connection that transcended their intentions. It wasn't just about the school, it was an awakening for both of them, a chance to fight against societal labels. He noticed her smile slowly return, brightening the unease in the cafe. What if we start with a community meeting? Jack suggested. Gather people who care about education. You could use this as a platform to share your vision. I'll help coordinate everything. Mia's kids giggled in the background, a soothing soundtrack to their serious conversation. She looked over at them and then back at Jack, her decision crystallizing. Okay, I'll do it. Just then, an older woman at the next table looked up, her gaze piercing. Excuse me, but I couldn't help but overhear, are you starting a school? Mia's cheeks flushed. We're just brainstorming. The woman smiled warmly. I've been involved with educational programs for 30 years. I'd love to hear more about it. Jack felt a surge of excitement. See? It's already starting. You just have to put your heart into it. Mia looked at him, a shimmer of disbelief in her eyes, followed by a spark of hope. This could really happen, but before they could fully embrace the moment, Jack's phone buzzed violently on the table. He glanced at the caller ID and felt a wave of apprehension wash over him. It was his business partner, Greg. The last thing he wanted was to be pulled back into the corporate world now that he had set a path towards something more meaningful. Sorry, I need to take this, he said reluctantly. Just a moment. He stepped outside, the cool air hitting his face like a slap. There was a familiar tension in his chest, a reminder of the world he was trying to escape. Hey, Greg, he answered, forcing cheer into his voice despite the urgency of the call. Jack. We need to discuss these upcoming investments. This could really bump our profits. I can't right now, Jack cut in, glancing back at the cafe. He didn't want to lose the momentum they had. I'm working on something important. Important? Like what? Greg pried. Jack hesitated. Could he share how his life was shifting? How he was drawn towards something that mattered? Instead, he sighed. Just I'll call you back later. With that, he hung up and returned to Mia, who was watching him with a knowing look. Everything okay? She asked gently. I'll be fine, he replied, offering her a reassuring smile. But deep down, a conflict brewed. His past life was calling, while his heart pulled him toward this new adventure. Mia seemed to sense his inner turmoil but merely nodded. We should get started, then. I can draft the details for that community meeting. As they began brainstorming, an electric tension filled the air again. But doubt lingered, threatening to puncture their hopeful bubble. Could this really be the start of something transformative, or would the reality of their worlds and society's judgment bring it all crashing down? What if I mess this up? Mia whispered, her eyes clouded with fear. Jack took her hand again. We'll figure it out together. But even as he spoke the words, he felt a storm brewing, a reckoning of their choices coming just around the corner. Outside, dark clouds rolled in, casting a shadow over the cafe, just as uncertainty loomed over their budding dream. Could they truly navigate the sideways glances and the whispers that would follow? And as Mia drew a deep breath, ready to dive into the unknown, Jack realized this was only the beginning. What awaited them at the community meeting could change everything if they dared to face it. As Jack and Mia sat in the cafe, their hopeful plans felt fragile, like a delicate spider web glistening with morning dew. The rest of the world blurred away, leaving just the two of them, two dreamers wrestling with new truths. Jack's mind buzzed with excitement, but doubt crept in alongside the mounting questions. What if they put in all this effort and it fell apart? Mia filled her notebook with frenzied notes. Okay, let us list out what I want to communicate in the meeting. She tapped her pen against the page, summoning her courage. My vision for the school, the values I want it to embody. Jack watched her, his heart swelling with admiration. Here was a woman about to chase what others might call a fantasy, yet she was ready to confront fear head-on. You're going to inspire people, he said, his voice filled with conviction. She glanced up, a mix of gratitude and apprehension in her expression. But what if I can't articulate it well? What if I'm wasting everyone's time? He leaned closer, his sincerity spilling over. You won't know until you try. And I'll be right here with you. The tension between them felt charged, electric. She offered a shy smile, a flicker of hope igniting in her chest. Suddenly, the bell above the cafe door chimed, signaling an arrival that interrupted their moment. A tall figure entered, exuding an air of confidence. Greg. Jack's stomach twisted at the sight of his business partner, the man representing the life he was starting to detach from. Jack. There you are. Greg called out, striding toward their table. He barely noticed Mia, focusing instead on Jack. We need to go over that investment report. You can't just ditch your responsibilities. Mia shifted, an awkward tension filling the air. Jack could see her deflate, the excitement from just moments before dimming. Not now, Greg. There was an edge to his voice that surprised even him. He wanted to shield Mia from the weight of corporate pressures, but Greg was relentless. It's important for your future, Jack. You can't just break away because of some fleeting dream, Greg shot back, oblivious to the smile fading from Mia's face. Fleeting? Jack spat back, his heart racing. This is more than anything I've ever worked on. The cafe felt like it was closing in around them. Mia's gaze was fixed on her notebook, her earlier determination evaporating under Greg's scrutiny. Look, I'm serious, Greg continued, leaning closer with that familiar condescending tone. You need to focus on what's practical. Jack's blood boiled. And you need to understand that not everything is about profits. This school Mia's dream, it matters. Great. You want to save the world, but what about your bills? Your responsibilities? Greg's voice dropped to a low, mocking whisper that seemed to echo off the walls. Jack clenched his fists, his mind racing. Responsibilities. Greg's words spiraled in his head. What was truly important? Was he ready to turn his back on the security of the corporate world for something uncertain, for a dream he wasn't even sure was viable? Mia looked up, her eyes wide, silently pleading. Jack, the tension hung like storm clouds, a tempest brewing just beneath the surface. He had to protect this moment. I won't let you take this from us, he said with deliberate strength. Mia deserves to be heard. Greg's face twisted in surprise, and just like that, the bubble they had shared began to fray. Jack turned to Mia, searching her eyes for reassurance, for something to anchor him amidst the chaos. That community meeting, it could be amazing. We can make it happen, Mia said softly, her voice trembling with renewed resolve. His heart soared as she leaned into their dream, reminding him why they were there. It was about more than just a school. This was a leap into the unknown, a risk to embrace. Together, he promised, feeling a surge of solidarity. They would face the world, no matter what it threw at them. But as Greg stared back, Jack caught a glimpse of doubt in the corners of his mind, the question echoing persistently. Was he truly ready? With a shaking breath, Mia opened her notebook again, eyes aflame with determination. What if we present it differently? What if we connect it to the community's needs? Jack could see the spark returning, and suddenly, he felt they were on the cusp of something monumental. But just as clarity flooded back, Greg's phone buzzed loudly as he glanced down, the moment of tension uncoiling just slightly. Look, I have to take this, he said with a dismissive wave. As Greg stepped away, a protective instinct awoke in Jack. This was more than a dream, they were fighting for their right to dream boldly. He turned back to Mia, whose determination breathed life back into him. Let us draw that outline, he said, urgency sparking anew. And just when it seemed the storm had passed, Mia's face shifted. But what if everything falls apart? She whispered, doubt creeping back like a shadow. Then we'll pick up the pieces together, he replied, but in his heart, a nagging doubt lingered. Could their fragile dream withstand the unexpected obstacles waiting just around the corner? As Jack and Mia dove back into their plans, uncertainty hung in the air, thickening as the cafe buzzed, indifferent to their struggle. Their path forward felt treacherous yet thrilling. What challenges lay ahead that could unravel everything they were building? The real test was yet to come. Mia took a deep breath, tapping her pencil against her notebook, as if trying to find the right rhythm to chase away her fears. Okay, let us focus, she said, shaking off the shadow of doubt. What do you think is the first thing I should mention in the meeting? Jack leaned in, enthusiastic, not wanting to lose their moment. Start with your passion. Talk about why this school matters to you, and to the kids. Make them see the heart behind it, your heart. She nodded slowly, absorbing his words. Right. I need them to feel what I feel. It can't just be bullet points on a page. There was a fire in her voice now, pushing back against the uncertainties. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted again. Greg returned, a frown etched across his brow as he caught the tail end of their conversation. What's happening here? He asked, feigning casualness but clearly on edge. Just brainstorming ideas, Jack replied, his tone sharper than he intended. The tension felt almost tangible as Greg's skepticism settled over the table like a heavy fog. What if you need to prepare that investment report? Greg's words dripped with condescension, a reminder of the life Jack was trying to step away from. This dream of yours is not going to pay the bills, Jack. Jack's jaw tightened. Every comment felt like barbs, poking at the fragile dream they were trying to weave. Mia squared her shoulders, then turned to Greg. Actually, I think it could lead to something amazing. We're creating a bridge between education and the community. Greg's eyes narrowed slightly, as if he'd encountered a perplexing puzzle. A bridge? I don't understand why you'd risk everything for this. Jack jumped in, a surge of protective energy arising within him. Because it's about more than just dollars and cents, Greg. This is about changing lives. You wouldn't understand. For a brief moment, silence wrapped around them, thick and suffocating. Jack could feel his heart racing, adrenaline coursing through his veins as both excitement and fear coiled tightly in his stomach. The determination in Mia's gaze filled him with warmth, infusing strength into his words. It's not just about numbers, he repeated, softer now but still resolute. It's about creating something that lasts, something that touches people long after. Greg rolled his eyes, unimpressed. You seem to forget that we live in the real world here. Good intentions won't keep you afloat. Mia's voice cracked through the air, breaking through the weight of Greg's cynical reality. But they can guide us. Sometimes, the dream is the first step to finding out how to make it all fit together. The courage in her words echoed across the cafe, inducing stares from other patrons. Greg shrugged dismissively, but Jack noticed a shift in his partner. He took a step back, crossing his arms defensively. That glimmer of doubt evaporated slightly, and clarity flickered in Jack's mind. Could this be their turning point? Let us work on our approach, he urged to Mia, bringing their focus back. If we combine our ideas, we can show them how education can really transform lives. We just need to convey it clearly. Mia's eyes brightened, sensing the momentum building again. What if we share stories? Real stories from parents, kids, the community? Let them see what's at stake. Yes. Jack's excitement surged. And visuals. We could have a slideshow, something dynamic that pulls people in. As they continued to bounce ideas back and forth, everything began to feel possible again. Every new suggestion erased the shadows of doubt, rekindling the flickering light of hope. Jack felt the warmth of a gentle smile cross his lips as Mia's enthusiasm reignited his own, but just when the air felt electric with potential, Greg interrupted once more. You're playing with fire here, and you both know it. One wrong step and it's over. The weight of Greg's words hung in the air. As Jack glanced at Mia, he could see the doubt, mixed with determination, dance across her features. The storm that still loomed over them seemed closer now, and they had never been more aware that each decision could lead to either a leap of faith or a potential fall. Maybe the challenge is why this matters so much, Jack said, looking defiantly at Greg. That fire could become a foundation if we embrace it. We just have to believe in its worth. But what if belief wasn't enough? What if they were deluding themselves while the clock ticked down, and dreams turned to ashes? As the cafe bustled around them, Jack felt the weight of his choices pressing in. The stakes were rising, and they were on the brink of something massive, something that could change not just their lives, but the lives of so many others. Could they really build this school against all odds? The resolve pure in Mia's eyes showed him that fighting together mattered, but as they leaned further into their plans, a single question throbbed in the back of Jack's mind: is it possible to uphold a vision when so much stands to jeopardize it? Mia felt a chill rise at Greg's warning. His voice was a cold gust of reality that swept through the warmth of their shared passion. She shook her head, trying to hold on to the fire ignited during their brainstorm. What do you mean by that? If we give up now, we're losing everything, all this potential. Jack interjected, his voice steady. No, Mia's right. This is a chance to show them what really matters. We believe in this for a reason. Belief doesn't build a roof, Greg shot back, his arms still crossed. What will you do when the money runs out? When parents are demanding answers? This isn't a fairy tale. Mia took a deep breath, tempering her frustration. She felt like a tightrope walker, balancing on the thin line between hope and uncertainty. We need to show them that this isn't just a dream. We have evidence: the studies, the testimonials. Communities thrive when education is prioritized. Greg sighed, clearly unconvinced, but Mia could catch the flicker of interest in his eyes, something beyond dismissiveness. Maybe there was a chink in his armor after all. If you really think this can work, how about we work together to build a solid case? Compromise is key here. Compromise? Jack echoed. The word hung between them, ripe with possibility. This can't just be about silver linings, we need a structured plan. Yes. Mia bolted upright, her mind racing. We need statistics, but also the human element. We should invite parents to speak at the meeting, bring in former students who made it because of their education. Jack's excitement mirrored hers. And what if we set up a panel? It would give them a chance to see real stories, real impacts. Greg nodded slowly, as if weighing their words. You want to invite the community in? That's risky. It's a calculated risk, Mia replied, the adrenaline pumping through her veins. What if we show them that their investment goes beyond finances? That it's about making real changes? Showing them our dedication? For the first time, Jack saw a flash of something in Greg, a flicker of interest mingled with skepticism. Okay, let us draw up a list of compelling stories we can present. But remember, if you go in there unprepared, any trust we build will crumble. The resolve in Mia's eyes matched Jack's newfound determination. Then let us prepare to shine. We'll build not just a vision, but a bridge of evidence under it. Time flew as they discussed the plan. Ideas whirled around them like leaves in autumn, falling into place, creating a brilliant tapestry of hope and possibility. Jack felt the thrill of purpose fill his chest. The higher the stakes, the more alive he felt. Meanwhile, a nagging thought feasted on his optimism: what if it all imploded? What if instead of applause, they faced incredulity? Whispered doubts crept in, but Jack pushed them aside. They would embrace each challenge, every fear. They were in this together. When they finally settled back to take a breath, the cafe around them had grown quieter, the air thick with potential. Jack glanced at Mia, who was scribbling furiously in her notebook. Are we ready for this? He asked softly, taking in her concentrated expression. Her gaze flicked up to meet his, alive with excitement and a lingering worry. We have to be, she replied, the determination in her voice barely masking the tremor of uncertainty. This is our shot. As they discussed their strategies, a growing sense of urgency pricked at them. The meeting was only days away. Just as they prepared to dive deeper into their plans, the cafe door swung open with a creak. A new group entered, parents from the community Jack recognized. They moved as if drawn by an invisible thread, and for a moment, their chatter became a distant murmur, the room narrowing down to the potential voices that could alter the course of Mia and Jack's mission. Jack's heart beat faster, the possibilities stretching out before them. Would this be a chance to gather stories, to solidify their mission? What if today, right here, they could connect with the very lives they aimed to change? Mia smiled, seemingly reading his thoughts, her eyes shining with an electric spark. Shall we? But deep inside, As anticipation washed over him, Jack wondered, could their daring leap into the unknown truly lead to the change they sought, or would it reveal a chasm they were not ready to cross? The group of parents settled into the cafe like a wave, their conversations buzzing with urgency and curiosity. Jack felt the familiar knot of nervousness in his stomach tighten. This was it. No more hiding behind spreadsheets or theories. They were stepping into the real world now, ready to embrace the people their project was meant to help. Mia straightened her posture, her confidence bolstered by the sight of the community members who could make or break their vision. "Let us not waste this opportunity," she whispered to Jack, her eyes glistening with determination. Jack nodded, a rush of adrenaline coursing through him. "We should introduce ourselves, show them we're just as invested in their children's futures as they are." Mia smiled. The spark in her eyes ignited a fire in him. They approached the group, tapping into the essence of their mission. Jack cleared his throat, his voice steady despite the thunderous beating of his heart. "Hi, everyone. We're Mia and Jack, and we're part of the team working on a new education project aimed at uplifting our community's youth through innovative learning opportunities." A ripple of interest traveled through the parents. Some leaned in closer, others exchanged glances that spoke of hope and skepticism. Mia continued. "We know that education is more than just books and grades. It's about experiences that shape our children. We want to hear your stories, what works for your families, what changes you'd like to see." Fingers twitched nervously. A mother with tousled hair and tired eyes spoke up. "What makes you think you can really help us? We've had promises before, what's different now?" Mia took a step forward, her sincerity radiating through the air like warmth from the sun. "I get it. We've seen those promises too. But we're here to listen first, to understand your needs. This isn't just about us pitching an idea. It's about working with you to make a lasting impact." Jack's heart soared as he watched Mia engage the parents, her words wrapping around them like a lifeline. Little discussions popped up among the group, and soon someone shouted, "There are kids with dreams here, and they need our help." That single statement sparked a fire in the room, igniting the stories that had long been held back. Parents started sharing earnest conversations filled with aspirations for their children. The tired mother opened up about her son, struggling to find his voice in a system that felt dismissive. A father chimed in with tales of how his daughter longed to explore the world beyond their small town but felt trapped by limitations. Jack and Mia absorbed every word, every emotion. This was what they needed, real voices that could breathe life into their project. As the conversations deepened, Jack knew they were onto something special. But at the same time, a shadow of doubt tickled the edges of his mind. What if their ideas and plans couldn't match the parents' expectations? "Can we all get together for a meeting?" Jack asked, optimism lacing his voice. "Hear your stories, maybe even create a sharing forum for ideas? This is something we can build together." A murmur of agreement began to bloom. Just then, a voice piped up from the back, an older gentleman who'd been quietly observing. "What if you can't deliver on your promises?" His voice cut through the room like a sudden gust of wind, and Jack felt the tension grow. Would mistrust overshadow the hope ignited moments before? Mia stepped forward, projecting the strength of her conviction. "We're here to show you our commitment, not just through words but through action. If we can't fulfill our promises, we'll be out in the community every step of the way until we do." As the parents studied their faces, Jack felt the weight of their future pressing down like a heavy shroud. Would these stories of hope lead to collective action, or would fear of failure hold them back? In the midst of the growing discussion, Mia caught Jack's gaze, a glimpse of worry threading through her excitement. "We can do this together," she mouthed, a silent rallying cry. But as Jack smiled back, he couldn't shake the gnawing dread that clung to him. What if those fears turned to flames, consuming all their hard work? The conversations continued, and the energy swirled. It felt like everything hung in the balance, but Jack couldn't tell if it was hope or despair holding them captive. Deep down, though, a whisper of action ignited the spark in his chest. Would the courage he felt in this moment be able to drown out the fear lurking in shadows? The cafe buzzed with voices, but one question loomed larger than all the others: could they really go from dreams to reality, or was this just another fleeting moment of excitement? Jack felt as if everything he had worked for was teetering on a precipice. The parents, who had been just strangers moments before, were now a tapestry of hopes and doubts, each thread telling a story of struggle and aspiration. He glanced at Mia, her face a canvas of determination, yet he could see threads of worry woven into her expression. The older gentleman's question hung in the air like a thundercloud. What if they couldn't deliver? As Jack stood there, he envisioned the very real consequences of failure. The ideas they were proposing held the potential to transform lives, but what if it all came apart? The smile of that mother he'd just met, filled with cautious hope, flashed in his memory. Maybe we should start small, Mia suggested softly, breaking into Jack's dizzying thoughts. We could host an open house, invite the families to share their needs, their dreams. It would be a way to listen, to build trust. Jack nodded, inspired by her practicality. That's a solid idea. We'll need to outline how we can support them. Even if it's just one small initiative at a time, we can show we're serious. The group had started to fracture into smaller circles of conversation, fostering collaboration as more stories spilled forth. Jack watched as parents encouraged one another. This was the groundwork of true community engagement. Look at them, Jack murmured, gesturing towards a father animatedly discussing internships for his teenage son with another parent. They're finding ways to help each other, and that's the spirit we need to tap into. Mia turned back to the collective, raising her voice just a notch above the din. We want to lay a foundation for collaboration. Who here is interested in being part of our first planning meeting? Several hands shot up, each accompanied by eager faces. Jack felt a rush of warmth and purpose surging through him. Maybe they were onto something bigger than he had initially thought. But that warmth was soon splintered as the older gentleman interjected again, his brow furrowed. How can we be sure this won't be another empty promise? Jack stepped closer, the knot in his stomach tightening. I understand your skepticism. I truly do. But we want your help to shape our actions. If we want to be accountable, we need to be transparent. A silence enveloped the table, the gravity of his words weighing heavily. Then, the tired mother Jack had spoken with earlier leaned forward, her voice shaky yet empowered. And if you need us, we need you too. It has to feel like a partnership. Mia beamed, her eyes sparkling with fresh resolve. Exactly. Let us be partners in this. Collaborate, communicate, and see how we can support one another. That notion shifted the energy again, igniting bright smiles and nods of encouragement. It was risky, taking this leap into the unknown, but something genuine was beginning to form, a shared connection that approached hope from every angle. As parents began throwing out ideas from summer camps to tutoring programs, Jack couldn't help but feel a swell of pride for the community. Their ideas merged with his and Mia's intention to bring change, creating something entirely new, but just as excitement built, the shadow of doubt crept back in. But what if we fail? Jack whispered to Mia, catching her eye. What if this is all just a spark that fizzles out in the end? Mia shook her head, resolute. Even if we stumble, we get back up. Failure is part of the journey, Jack. We're not looking for perfection, just progress. Jack took a deep breath, bolstered by her words but still wrestling with the weight of the responsibility they were taking on. Even as the discussions thrummed with vitality, an unasked question loomed: how long could they maintain momentum before reality pulled them under? Just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, his heart racing at the sight of a message from the school district. As he opened it, a sense of dread washed over him. When he read the words, his pulse quickened even more. We need to reconsider your project approval. Was their vision about to be crushed before it even had a chance to take flight? The cafe churned with energy around him, but Jack felt a fog of uncertainty growing. Would this journey end before it even began? The very thought gnawed at him, and in that moment, he wondered if the dream they had clutched so tightly would survive the first storm. Jack's heart raced as he stared at his phone, the stark words swimming in his mind. They needed to reconsider. An avalanche of questions crashed into him. What did that mean for their project? Was the hope they had sparked with the parents about to evaporate? Mia sensed his unease, her eyes narrowing with concern. Everything okay? She asked, her voice just above the noise of the cafe that he forced a smile, but couldn't mask the fear tightening around his chest. It's from the school district. They want to reconsider our project approval. Mia's expression shifted. It was a mixture of shock and determination. We can't let that stop us. We're just getting momentum. Jack knew she was right. But if they pull the plug, what then? Then we fight for it. We go back to those parents and show them what we've got. We can't give them empty promises. We turn that doubt into our fuel. For a moment, her conviction steadied him. Jack glanced back at the tables littered with families, all engaged in dialogue bursting with ideas and dreams. They had done something, hadn't they? But still, that gnawing fear lingered at the edges of every hopeful thought. Okay, let us go back to them, Jack said, each word punctuated by a growing resolve. Let us show them why we can't give up. They wove through the tables where conversations darted from one idea to the next. Hope hung in the air, electric and palpable, as parents pushed the limits of their imaginations. Jack felt the potential he hadn't seen before. This was more than just a project, it was a movement that he clapped his hands to draw attention. The buzz quieted, turning toward him. Everyone, we just received a message from the school district that they'll be reconsidering our project approval, he announced, drawing a collective gasp from the crowd. I know this sounds shaky, but we need to take action and make our voices heard. Your idea's the hope and the energy we've built here, that's our response. But what can we do? A single mother with tired eyes asked. Jack took a step forward, emboldened. We can organize. Let us write emails, call the district, and share our vision. We need to show them how this project means more than just a series of programs. It's a chance to create a strong community bond that uplifts our families. Mia chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. And we can plan that open house and invite everyone in the district. Show them what we're building together. He could feel the room ignite with energy as parents started murmuring, excitement and support flooding the space like a tidal wave. What about a petition? Someone shouted. Yes. Another voice joined in. Gather signatures. Let us show them the numbers. Jack's heart surged. They were catching fire, uniting behind their common purpose. Exactly. Let us show them we're serious about wanting to support our kids and families. Jack felt a familiar warmth flooding his veins as the coffee shop pulsed with life. Every face glowed with determination. It was in moments like these that he could see the strands of the community weaving together stronger than ever. Get into groups. Mia encouraged. Let us brainstorm ideas and strategies. This is our chance to showcase who we are and what we stand for. Within moments, energy buzzed through the cafe as ideas bounced back and forth. But in the center of all this fervor, Jack felt a small shadow creep back. What if it didn't matter? What if all this effort still led to disappointment? Would they truly be able to push past the bureaucracy? Before he could dwell on it, a mother approached him, her eyes glistening with determination. I'll write to the district. I'll share my story, and how this could change everything for my son. It was a small action, but it set something off in Jack. Every letter, every word mattered. This was how change began, with voices echoing, one after another. He looked at Mia, who caught his gaze and smiled, reflecting understanding and collective purpose. Then, his phone vibrated again, a new message popping up. Jack glanced down, already braced for more bad news. But when he read it, a cold shiver swept through him, one that felt eerily similar to hope. It was from the district. Their decision was now in motion. Would it be the lifeline they had been waiting for, or another blow in a series of disappointments? Jack held his breath, knowing this was only the prologue to an unfolding drama. What happened next would determine the future of everything they had fought for. The day finally arrived, a bright morning that hummed with promise. Jack and Mia stood in the community hall, the air thick with anticipation. Tables filled with parents, children, and members of the district crowded the room, a diverse tapestry of faces eager for something new. Jack could feel the adrenaline coursing through him. This was at the culmination of their plans, the distance they had traveled from quiet coffee shop discussions to a community standing shoulder to shoulder, ready to dream bigger. Mia shuffled her notes nervously, her fingers trembling slightly. Jack placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, grounding her amidst the tumult of emotions swirling around them. "You're ready," he whispered, his voice steady and firm. In this chaotic moment, he could see her passion flicker like the steady flame of a lantern. As the lights dimmed, a medium-sized stage illuminated the room, and their first speaker approached the older gentleman who had once questioned their vision. Jack felt his heart tighten in his chest, a thread of uncertainty tugging at him. But he squashed the doubt. This was a chance to not only win over the skeptics but to ignite the fires of hope in all who listened. The gentleman spoke, sharing his own experiences with education, a narrative that seemed to resonate, drawing the crowd closer. His voice carried weight, each word weaving a thread of trust back into the fabric of their project. Jack could see the parents nodding, the skepticism fading, replaced by eager hope. Mia stepped up next, adrenaline surging as she took the podium. Her voice rang clear and strong. "This school isn't just about teaching languages or cultures. It's about fostering dreams, building bridges between communities, and inspiring our children to believe in their potential." She glanced at the faces around her, the smiles, the nods of encouragement. The reassurance breathed new life into her words as she painted a vivid picture of a future where children didn't just learn, but thrived. And then came the moment she had prepared for, a deep breath filling her lungs. Imagine a world where your children could communicate effortlessly with peers around the globe, where every child has an equal chance at the life they dream of. Each word resonated, rippling through the audience like a steady drumbeat, igniting the room with fresh fervor. Tears glistened in the eyes of parents as they leaned forward, captivated by this vision. Jack's heart soared. This was real. This was the spark that would not only bind them together but would also break through the barriers of doubt. After Mia finished, she stepped down, breathless yet radiant. The applause erupted, an electric wave of acceptance washing over her. Jack rushed to her side, elated. "You were amazing." But before they could relish the moment, the district representative stood to address the gathering, a stern expression clouding his typically calm demeanor. "We understand the importance of this initiative." However, Jack felt the air thicken. The familiar knot of anxiety tugged at him again. While the representative spoke, Jack couldn't help but notice the open expressions of the parents in the room had shifted to ones laden with fear and regret, their hope teetering precariously. He leaned over to Mia, concern etched on his brow. "What if they pull the plug? What if this is all for nothing?" Mia grabbed his hand, a resolute warmth radiating from her grip. "Whatever happens, we'll keep fighting. We've come too far to turn back." The representative continued, outlining their concerns in a tone that dripped with bureaucratic caution, but just as doubt began to creep back in, he paused. "I witnessed the passion you all have displayed today, the undeniable community spirit. That can't be ignored." Jack felt the swell of determination rise within him again. This was the moment to leverage that hope they had cultivated. He stepped up, heart pounding. "With the community's support behind this school, we can present a solid plan to answer your concerns, and together we can create something spectacular." A ripple of agreement surged through the audience as Jack spoke, igniting a spark in the room. Voices rose, parents chiming in with stories, ideas, and questions. The sense of unity was palpable. Jack turned back to Mia and saw her confidence blossoming, her passion palpable as she encouraged others to voice their own stories. As the discussions flourished, it became clear that this community wanted to invest in their children, to co-create a future full of possibilities instead of limitations. The excitement rose around them like a wave, an unstoppable current propelling them forward. In the midst of this vibrant energy, the representative finally relented. "Let us take a leap of faith together. Put forth a proposal and we will reconsider." A collective gasp filled the room, a sound woven with disbelief and joy. Mia spun around, disbelief reflected in her eyes. Did he just say we could move forward? Jack's heart raced as he smiled, a pure rush of adrenaline flooding his system. Yes. We can do this. As applause erupted again, their fears melted into the ether, replaced by renewed hope and determination. They were on the brink of something formidable, a pathway to transforming their dreams into reality, and as they walked together back into the light of possibility, hand in hand, Jack smiled at Mia, his heart swelling. Together, he murmured. Together, she echoed, a radiant smile lighting her face. This would be just the beginning of their journey, a courageous leap into the unknown, together, with a community rallying at their backs. They were ready to embark on this remarkable journey, where dreams would take flight, solidified by love, ambition, and the undying spirit of a community eager for change. Now is your chance to be part of something amazing. You need to subscribe now to keep up with these exclusive stories. Leave a like to feed the algorithm and help us spread the word. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. And please, share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring journey. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. This is the moment to join us as we continue to chase our dreams.